Facebook, YouTube. What it do, what it do, what it do. This is Jules. Here to talk to you. You know what I mean? Let's do a little something. Let's mess with this narrative. All this propaganda. You know what I mean? Just been hitting us over the head for quite a while. I'm about to go back to the walls, to the pictures on the walls. Now, what this remind you of? When you look at those pictures on that wall, give you side view, front view, side view. This is on them pictures on the walls. It's like the Mayans. Some of them wear wore like this, they wore like that. Me, I prefer to wear them back like that. This is just how it is. They call these, some people do, dreads. I don't dread nothing on my head, you feel me? You know? These are locks. You know. I don't know why they want to take everything from us and give it to other people. Like we don't have locks on our head. We have dread, something to dread, be dreadful of. Well, they dread it because it's in fact, it's in remembrance of, you know, the Olmecs, the Mayans, the Aztecs, the Incas. I mean, those pictures on the wall, if you pay attention, you might even see yourself. Nah, we came here another way, right? You know, people get mad, you know what I'm saying, when you start saying anything else other than we came by way of ship. What was it called? A caravel that Columbus was sailing across the ocean in. Those vessels that could only carry 30 to 50 people at a time. You talking about 12.5 million. Do you know, if we think about that, that would have took over 250,000 trips back and forth to do that type of thing. I mean, wasn't that place pretty poor? Where would they get all that food from? I mean, I get the water thing, but where would they get all the food from? And the manpower. These narratives and propaganda is what I'm talking about. Now, do I have a problem with if I descend from that great place, that motherland we call Africa today? Nope, not at all. I just know that they kill a lot of people with the pen, more than they kill with the sword. Matter of fact, the pen became the sword, and the sword became the pen, vice versa, right? So the narrative and propaganda, well, what does that have to do with today? Well, I'm trying to get you there. I'm leading you there. I'm just trying to move slowly on up the timeline, you know, or that linear line, you know. So we got 1619. We could get the 20 odd Negroes. You know, why was they odd? Okay, let's say there was 23 of them. You know what I mean? An odd number. 20 and an odd number. You know, so 21 of them. You know, an odd number. Now, I don't really believe that they really had the economics at that time to be going back and forth to Africa with Ndingo out there having a good time. Queen Ndingo, she was just banging them upside their head. I just really can't see how they just had the leisure of just doing that just so easy. So I'm thinking them 20 odd came from the Caribbean, you know what I mean? But I have no proof on that. It just seemed that that would have made most sense, you know. not immigrant with the I, but immigrant with the E. You know, island hopping. But I wasn't there to pay attention to that type of stuff because if I was, I sure would let y'all know what it was for real, for real. But let's just uh, mess around with this propaganda my way. So those we leave 1619 and we go into 1776. Now these people wasn't even free enough to even come up with a plan to do things without the king's permission, right? This was that whole 1776 thing was about, you know what I'm saying? Where they was throwing all that tea in the Boston Harbor, you know what I mean? Who was they rebelling against? Themselves? Or was they still rebelling against us? Because you better check out European history and see who those kings were. You know what I mean? You understand why it was so easy to throw their stuff in the Boston Harbor. They refused to pay taxes to a certain king, right? Okay, cool. Whatever. Now let's move up that timeline to 1808, where the United States, which was 13 continents, I believe at the time, maybe a little bit more, when they said it's against the law to bring any more so-called enslaved Africans into the United States. Wait a minute, you mean slavery that stopped in 1808? No, sure didn't. It kept on going. They just said you couldn't bring outsiders into the situation, right? Now you gotta understand, outside of 13 colonies, or outside whatever, how many states they had, whatever at that time, if it was 20, anything outside of that was foreign land, right? Okay, but that's just, you know, I'm just jumping the gun, you know what I mean? I'm just trying to get you to think, you know what I mean? Okay, so let's jump up to 1865. No, let's go back to 1863. No, let's go back one more year, 62, where the Emancipation Proclamation was written. But what caused it to be written? Why did they decide to write that bad boy? Because those same people that they freed had basically already freed themselves. They was fighting against both the Union and the Confederacy. The Union said, hey, come on, y'all come fight with us. We're gonna free you, whatever. So they went on ahead and they started fighting with the Union. But before that, the Union was getting his butt kicked. I mean, he was getting his butt kicked. Confederacy was tearing that joint up. Almost lost this whole little situation until they employed or brought on those so-called slaves to fight on their behalf. Then they start whooping the Confederacy butt, right? Confederacy said, hey, come work with us, you know, fight for us. They're like, for what? Why would we do that? I mean, you gonna give us what we call freedom? You know what I mean? You gonna treat us fair, equal rights? They said, no, that ain't why. You just supposed to do it because it's just the right thing to do. Help us keep our culture and traditions. You know, we love y'all here working and picking cotton from morning until, you know, you can't see at night. Them cats said, hell no. And they fought with the Union. So these cats didn't only save the United States, but they also pretty much freed themselves. So it was in the benefit to write it down on paper, you know, because they had to take credit for it, you know. That's why it's never completely free. It's like they said, well, you know, 13th Amendment, they free the slaves, but at the same time, it's with loopholes, right? I mean, if they was out there, you know, free, right? For real, they was in your benefit. They wouldn't have no loopholes there. They're like these old right. Never mind. You know. So again, propaganda and narratives. You know what I'm saying? Hit over our head. My point in this whole little thing is if we refuse to go back and look at these things and see them for what they are, you know, people could just tell you anything, and you'll fall for the propaganda. You'll fall for the narrative. You know, even in the modern times, you know. I've been doing a little research on the little gender wars, and practically what I've been saying is pretty on the money, you know what I mean? Coming off the top of the dome, just like I'm coming off the top of the dome with this here. And probably when I go back and do a little check, research, I might be kind of close to that, on that too. We know it's not beneficial for us to go against ourselves. Matter of fact, from the little part that I did read on the gender wars, they employ that because they know there can be no real forward motion, no forward movement with that. Matter of fact, I think it's saying slow forward movement. You know what I mean? It's to slow it down. So when we going up against ourselves and we're not moving as a unit, together, yeah, the moves that we could have made while we too busy bickering, arguing, and fighting, they making moves right up under us, you know what I'm saying, right around us. And that's how they actually really have been beating us all the time. They get us to bickering with each other and not seeing the big picture. You know what I mean? It's time for us to stop doing all that nonsense. I just thought I'd hit you with a little something. Oh, before I go, I'm about to get into a production. Right now, like I said, this is just to introduce and warm myself up to the camera and everything. And I'm starting to warm up, you know what I'm saying, back up. Those back in the day, you know what I'm saying, they know I used to do little skits and stuff like that with my family and stuff. So sad. So we getting back into that type of momentum, you know what I mean? I'm thinking about doing a few things and messing around in a few studios, you know what I mean? On the production show, maybe even introduce y'all to some of the cameras and some of the camera people and guys and stuff. We about to full go here, you know what I mean? I haven't really came up with a concept completely of what I want to present you guys with, but I will be presenting you guys with a series of things. Some of y'all know that I do music. Yeah, I mess around with that a little bit, but I don't have a whole lot of people with the skits and everything, you know what I mean? So, it'll be mostly me. I know that get kind of boring to see the same face all the time, but we gotta start where we can't start at, you know what I mean? So be looking out for that. I'll let you know what that is. Then I hit you with it. And I get back at you. Just keep up with the kid, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna be doing what we're doing. Whatever you do it for your benefit to the fullest of your ability. But whatever you do, remember to always enjoy yourself. Jules, I'm out of here. Yeah.